Okay, well, I've been asked about crystals, and someone was curious, so I thought I would just tell you. This one is one I've shown you before, and I'm showing you this rather than the points and the beds I've got because it's quite simply more impressive, basically. It looks nicer. I've had this one for years. I think I've had it since the very early 90s, so nearly 20 years of just using it, meditating with it, doing healing work with it, and it's beautiful. Obviously, it's a rose quartz crystal, and it's a substantial piece of rock. I rather like it. Now, when you're trying to get to know a crystal or a stone, what you need to do is to go through various different processes. You got to look at it, you got to observe it, purely from the outside and aesthetic side of things. You got to try and work out what it's trying to say in terms of its color, its structure, whether there are little flaws in the surface itself, or indeed permeating through the crystal lattice, and essentially what that says. Spend a bit of time trying to analyze as well you can within whatever symbolic systems of reference you've got what the various different pits and markings on the face of the crystal seem to be suggesting. I mean, for those of you who are into like runic symbolism, you may find that there is some correlations. Maybe a Gifu rune or a Rad rune might appear in various different places on the surface, which you can see, and that might also have a connection to your energetic understanding as to what that particular crystal stone is trying to tell you. Obviously, color is very key somehow for some reason, and that connects to a wide variety of other color symbolism ideas that there are in the world, which are subjective. Some people say they're objective. I think that, well, maybe there is an objective component because the color blue affects you in some ways, the color red affects you in some ways, according to science. So, yeah, there is some objective aspect, but a lot of it is subjective too. And so you've got to try and work out where the blend is between the two. I think it was one of those rather bad quality sci-fi TV shows many years ago. They had a traditional witch type character who said, well, when they believe something, then it's true. Well, to a certain extent, that is correct, but only to a certain extent, because when you're dealing with meditation, when you're dealing with like all the states of consciousness practice, what it is that you believe when you're in your meditation or your hypnotic state is going to be what's real within that particular spiritual world, okay? But that's not necessarily a hard and fast fact to the way the entire universe works. Many people who are new to occultism, and especially people who've been around for a while and think they are somehow qualified by experience, go through the processes of assuming that they know what's right because they felt it or they experienced it. Now, obviously, myself, I'm a little older in years, and so maybe I'm a little bit more critical, a little more cynical and skeptical of various different interpretations as to how a particular experience can actually mean something. So I would say that look towards the subjective as well, but also accept when something is subjective. All right. Now, as far as like looking at the colors, the texture, the patterning, the flaws throughout the stone and crystal lattice, the way it reflects with the light, there's other ways of investigating it as well. And that's when you go into meditation type exercises, maybe even visualize yourself traveling into the stone. You've got to be in quite a deep state of meditation to do this. And you can explore it through imaginatory journeys, maybe having a stone in your left hand and imagining yourself traveling down your arm, or your optic sense, your visual sense traveling through your fingers into the stone, maybe. And the other way is, of course, through those who have the ability to once in a while feel those little moments in life when you feel spiritual healing energy coming out of things. Then you can have a look at it energetically and try and sense it that way. Obviously, people who are more into mind altering technology, meditation experiences, and the rest of that, including religion, will find that side of things a little easier than those who are not. So, those who are totally atheistic will probably find it harder because your belief paradigm will affect what you can actually do as far as altered states of consciousness is concerned. I just love the color. It is the color of the stone is brilliant here. Also, when you're doing meditation, place it on different chakras when you're lying down in your meditation. See how it affects you. Don't do it through intense concentration. Do it through receptive, passive, meditative, prayerful, reverent type concentration, which is a different type of thing. And also try it with your limbs. See how it feels when it's in your left hand and you're meditating, and see how it feels when it's in your right hand and you're meditating, and seeing how that like connects with various different mythologies. I mean, you can look at texts about what the stones are supposed to mean. All right, and maybe that can help you, but on the other hand, that is still a comparatively subjective interpretation. So you need to have a blend of text reading as well as going through the process of exploring the stones themselves to try and get some kind of feeling as to hypothetically what they could do, or indeed what they could be beneficial for, and how you personally could use these things within your own forms of spiritual practice, meditation practice, and all the rest of that. I personally am of the opinion that they have some kind of effect, as far as like on the energetic level is concerned. I use them as far as forms of spiritual healing on myself is concerned. Yes, I do not use it to cure myself of anything, because I don't think such things can happen. But the effect, although comparatively subtle, is still a effect, and it's one which can possibly be useful, just as you carry on with the course of your life. They are fun things to play with for those of you who like this sort of thing like I do. So yeah, jolly good. Obviously, don't confuse that with crystal seeing, which is much more a question of hypnosis or Black Mirror type experiments. I've done plenty of videos on the Black Mirror in the past. A crystal ball, namely a ball which has been carved out of let's say, a quartz rock of any different type and style, is much more a meditation tool prior to some form of astral projection type exercise or astral travel type exercise or path working. An object of hypnosis or fascination rather than necessarily something to see the face of a spirit in. Okay, so if you just get the understanding correct there, then I'm pretty sure you'll be okay. But I like crystal balls as well, because like they're beautiful. They're kind of like magical in their own way, as far as the way you look at it, the way it feels to you. But as far as like, do they have any specific properties as far as like spirit vision is concerned? No, I personally don't think so. It's more of a tool of fascination for which you could use nearly anything. Tool of fascination means you stare at it, you meditate at it. You can use a candle flame as well for the same purpose, realistically speaking. And everything else is just like an exercise that you do inside your mind and in your mind's eye. Right, well, that's just a bit of an overview. Feel free to agree and disagree. You know, have a conversation in the comments section, and I'll speak to you again soon. Nick Dutch signing out for now.